Today on Legally Us, Prince Harry is accused of destroying evidence, while Rust armorer Hannah Gutierrez Reed is claiming prosecutors buried evidence that could have cleared her of involuntary manslaughter. Plus, we break down everything you need to know about Rachel Lindsay's divorce to Brian Abasolo, as well as Billy Ray Cyrus and Firerose's nasty split. We've got that plus so much more on today's Legally Us. Hey everyone, and welcome to Legally Us. I'm Christina, and joining me this week is Ron Zambrano, partner at West Coast Trial Lawyers, filling in for Nima this week. Hi Ron, it's good to see you.
Great to see you. Thanks for having me on again.
Of course, there's a lot to get into. So let's kick it off this week with Prince Harry. So a lawyer for the publisher of The Sun accused Prince Harry of deliberately destroying evidence that may have been relevant to his lawsuit against the media group. Harry and dozens of others are suing News Group newspapers over claims of reporters and private investigators using unlawful information gathering tactics. Now, attorney Anthony Hudson, who is representing NGN, told London's High Court that the prince had intentionally wiped text messages with J.R. Moringer, who is the journalist who ghost wrote Harry's memoir, Spare. Now, a trial based on some of the claims against NGN is set to begin in January of 2025. Before it opens, NGN's attorneys have sought an order to make Harry disclose all of the information in his possession, or which might be held by the royal household or his former lawyers, pertaining to what he knew about the alleged illegal practices before the end of 2013. So it feels like this is a bit confusing, but they are accusing him of destroying evidence. So what exactly does this mean, and how does this affect the trial next year?
So this is typically kind of a Hail Mary when attorneys try to do this. Mm-hmm. When we start saying like he might have done this and he might have done that, well, there's an easy way to find out. Put him under oath and ask him on a very limited basis, which the judge or the court can order him. Like, just you could ask him very narrow things and that's it, and he'll say I did or I didn't, and that's it. The other thing that can happen is they can order that the phone be examined by an expert. This is not something where the judge is going to be like, oh, okay, I'm going to let you ask every single little thing and understand what's in the royal household. It's really an effort to try to get more than what you're entitled to under the guise of, they're not playing fair. Mm-hmm. And judges typically see through that.
So if you're Prince Harry, you're not necessarily too worried about this?
Well, if I was Prince Harry, I'm always worried. The attorney should not be worried about it. What they should do is say, listen, we will allow Prince Harry to be asked directly whether or not he deleted messages or not, and maybe leave it at that. Whatever Prince Harry says he has or does not have, he's stuck with. So whether they help or don't help, maybe that's really not up to him, but that's up to the attorneys. There's another side of the coin. The other person on the text messages, well, what does that person say? Does that person say they did exist or they didn't exist? And that is actually more important.
Will they then ask JR, the ghostwriter, to then also testify in this case too, or go on the stand?
Oh, I would 100% anticipate that being asked, at least maybe not in the stand, but for purposes of the discovery, going, tell us whether or not you, to the extent how many text messages you did exchange with Prince Harry, what were the contents? And that is possible, but to just keep attacking Prince Harry on things, on one issue, but try to get this wide net is something typically courts go like, no, you're going beyond the scope of what you're allowed to do, and I think it'll be denied. Right.
So you think this will be denied? I feel like there's so many different cases going on with Harry, and this NGN, it's hard to keep up.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but I think it'll be denied. It's a very common tactic to play, screaming foul for one thing, but asking for the world, and the courts typically go, no. You have to be narrow and precise.
Definitely. All right, moving on to Rust armorer Hannah Gutierrez Reed. Now, she is claiming that New Mexico prosecutors buried evidence that could have helped clear her of involuntary manslaughter. This was reported first by TMZ and Rolling Stone. So she is currently serving 18 months in prison in connection with the death of cinematographer Helena Hutchins on the set of the Alec Baldwin starring Western movie back in October of 2021. So according to TMZ, her attorney filed new legal documents accusing the district attorney's office of burying a report that shows that there were unexplained alterations made to the trigger of the gun that killed Hutchins. So her attorney says that the report may have proved that Alec didn't pull the trigger, and as such, his client wasn't legally responsible for her death. So why is this just coming to light right now?
So this is actually quite an interesting development. This came out to light during Alec Baldwin's trial.
Right.
And because everyone's listening to that, the attorneys for the armor going, whoa, we didn't know this. So we're going to go and file we want a new trial, Your Honor, because based on this, we have to start from zero. Now, the judge is going to hear it, but the standard is really, really high. Yeah. The standard is this information, assuming it's true, is this information something that would have changed the outcome at the end of the day? And that's a very, very high standard. So, I don't think it's big enough, but it's a big deal for the people in possession of the report in the Alec Baldwin case because they've admitted that they forgot to disclose it. So it's we're talking about Alec Baldwin's case and what they did over there and how it's affecting potentially what could happen with the Armor's case. But if the judge decides wow, maybe this may have changed the jurors' minds if they were able to weigh that evidence had it been disclosed, maybe we should start from zero.
Yeah, so this would start from square one. She would get a whole new trial then.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Whole new trial, whole new jury. Everybody presents evidence again, but this time they get to include this report that they just found about because of Alec Baldwin's trial.
Sure. And then, so what's going on with the Alec Baldwin trial now? I know that they've been trying to not make this go forward, but they keep getting denied.
Right. So Alex Spiro, he's doing his job. He's like every little thing that he can make an argument that's not frivolous, he's going to make. And the latest one was. The latest one is, hey, there's this report that's evidence that my client didn't even pull the trigger. Why are we even here? And the judge denied it. It's up to a jury to decide whether or not whatever evidence is presented puts, beyond a reasonable doubt, puts Alec Baldwin culpable for what happened.
So she is serving 18 months in jail. How long could he potentially serve in jail if they find him guilty?
Well, it could be at least that, or up to life, depending what they're really going after him.
Yeah.
They went after both. A part of the motion for new trial for the Armor was like, this is politically motivated by the DA. This is intentional. They're throwing everything out there, including politics as a motivator. And of course, the DA is a political position. So, but again, so is the judge. The judge knows the DA. It's very, very messy.
Yeah.
But if the judge sees the report and says, wow, this should have been something the jury should have weighed, the Armor will get a new trial, new evidence, whole new back to square one.
Right. How would you be feeling if you were Alec's attorney in this situation at this moment?
I think Alec's attorney, as soon as the Armor was found guilty, is very, very, it's an easy argument to make. Listen, the state of Arizona already found one person guilty for the crime. My client relied on that person. Unless there's evidence that my client knew that person was terrible or knew about the bullet or knew, there's so many inferences as a defense attorney going like, listen, we already found someone that's responsible. Now you're trying to get my client too, but there's got to be a line somewhere. As soon as the Armor was convicted, I think Alec's team was like, this should be easy to just go reasonable doubt. Look at the other person that's already in jail.
Yeah. All right. We'll have to wait and see what happens. All right. Moving on over to Rachel Lindsay. She is giving her perspective about married life with her estranged husband, Brian, saying they rarely saw each other or even lived together. And this is getting a lot messier than it probably needs to be. So per the filing, Lindsay moved to Los Angeles back in 2020 to become a correspondent for Extra. He joined her in California 6 months later. Before the pair moved to Los Angeles, she shared that she and Brian split all of the household expenses. So she explained that she and Brian did not have a joint account during their marriage. They were each responsible for their own finances, including credit cards, retirement accounts, and brokerage accounts. She claims Brian's average monthly cash flow is about $13,000, while hers is about $61,000. She adds that her monthly expenses exceed almost $50,000, and she cannot pay his attorney the $75,000 to litigate their uncomplicated divorce. So he filed back in May a motion requesting emergency spousal support, which she is asking the court to deny. He also petitioned, like I said, to have Lindsay pay the $75,000 for his attorney fees. She is asking that the court order almost $10,000 per month in spousal support to her ex, and claims in newly filed documents that she proposed a generous global settlement to Brian's legal team. So she is saying, obviously, this is a very uncomplicated divorce. They don't have any children. They, each split their assets. So why is this becoming so complicated, and why is he trying to ask for so much?
Because he can under California family law. So in California, once you move here, anything that's generated here when you're married is split 50-50. It's called community property. So even though it was only 6 months, this whole details of like, listen, everything was separate, everything, like none of it matters unless there's a written contract saying we know where this is a community property state, but we're going to treat everything as separate property. Those are the magic words, separate property. But it doesn't sound like that happened. So she's trying to make this like, well, what actually happened, we live this way. So therefore, we really meant to be separate property.
Got it.
I don't think the judge is going to buy it. Family, that is the automatic baseline. Community property, unless there's a written contract or some type of provable contract otherwise. So what happens when that is established? Well, whoever's making more money has to pay the person that's making less money. And that includes, also in California, the richer spouse has to pay for the poorer spouse's family law legal fees, or else there's a big disparity in power. So that's why she's like, please deny this. I don't make that much money. This isn't that complicated. Oh, we treated everything separately, because she wants to have an initial finding like, well, okay, you guys really meant to be, even though married, but living outside of the community property rules, separate property, because that would get her a win on everything.
Yeah.
I just don't think it's going to happen.
It's going to happen. How long would she have to pay him as spousal support?
Well, it could be a very long time. It could be up until his death, if the attorneys do a bad job for her. But typically what happens is that once financial conditions change, even if she finds out about it, he'll go like, hey, he's making more money, reduce it. Hey, I'm making less money, reduce it. So they could be requesting a change and potentially having a change every year, every 2 years. Once the financial conditions can change, you can make the request. If it's big enough, the judge would be like, yeah, the conditions have changed. We should change this in order to be fair.
Well, I'm sure if she gets married again, she'll have somebody sign a prenup this time around.
Yep, that's what prenups are for.
That's what they're for. Which is also surprising, since when they got married, they were both in the spotlight, the public eye, which is unusual, I guess. But teach their own.
One of the best things I heard before I was married is how weddings are so optimistic, and I think that's where they were.
Yes, exactly. All right, well, I think these two were probably optimistic when they tied the knot 7 months ago, but Ray Cyrus is now accusing his estranged wife, Firerose, of abuse in a new round of court documents. So he vehemently denied Firerose's prior abuse allegations, alleging that he was not only verbally and emotionally abused by his ex, but physically as well. So he admitted to being vocal, frustrated, and angry with Firerose, but demanded strict proof of her abuse allegations. She filed a complaint in a Tennessee court on June 14th, alleging that Cyrus was unpredictable and volatile during their 7-month marriage. We confirmed on June 11th that Ray was looking for an annulment to end his marriage to Firerose only 7 months after they tied the knot. He cited irreconcilable differences and inappropriate marital conduct as the reason for their split. So they wanted this exasperated, and he reportedly gave her only 2 days to move out of their shared home. She gave an interview to Page 6, basically saying that he kind of controlled every single aspect of her life, wouldn't let her contact with her loved ones. He said that he couldn't contact her daughters. It's a huge mess. So where do we go from here now that they're kind of firing these allegations towards one another?
Other than eating popcorn and watching the mess, it's kind of a hard one. I mean, what do you think is going to happen when you marry someone whose name is Firerose, right? But putting jokes aside, these are two very high profile people. There's families involved, but they're trying to do what's best. What they believe is in their own interest. And unfortunately, in family law, the client typically feels they know what a win is, right? Like they feel like, oh, I need to get this order, I need to get that order, and they'll burn the ground and their spouse's reputation to get there. And that's what's happening, right? They're trying to get a more favorable ruling with the family law judge in Tennessee. They're trying to get, sympathy from it. Like, look, I'm basically she's saying I'm a domestic violence survivor, right? Like, look at me, I was isolated. Right. Please treat me better than you would him. And it's ugly. But the judge's role is to see, maybe the judges have to say, I have to weigh the evidence in case it's true, because if the case is true, there are remedies. Right.
So, I mean, either one of them are not going to face like jail time or things like no police reports were filed or anything like that. So, is this just a monetary settlement that they're looking for? Who's going to get more? How much money he's going to have to probably pay her?
Right, exactly. So this is all about currying favor with the judge. This is
Right.
only, the judge can only, well, that's not true. The judge, if they find criminal activity, can refer it to the district attorney or the sheriff's office in case they see it. But I just don't see it rises to the level of that.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think it would happen. It's all about currying favor for either current or future requests for changes to the order or changes of one spouse pays for the other spouse's expenses, lawyers, or child support or alimony, you know, spousal support.
Messy. Well, Ron, thank you so much for breaking it all down. It's always great seeing you and appreciate your expertise as always.
Thanks for having me.
All right, perfect.